Vedika Bahal is here on set with us. Today's topic, Vedika, is all about US Vice President JD Vance. He's getting a lot of heat online from social media users after recent interview clips resurfaced. What's going on?
That's right, John Emil. Well, in the last few days, a clip from an interview has resurfaced with the claim that US Vice President JD Vance said it's totally reasonable to not want neighbours who speak another language. Now, this has had major traction online. As we can see in this post alone, there's nearly 11 million views and counting. And I saw hundreds, if not thousands, more just like this. Now, it's safe to say the social media reactions have been brutal, to say the least. Internet users reminded the vice president that he is, in fact, married to an Indian-American woman, has biracial children, and he has an entire family by marriage who speak another language. Other internet users called this straight bigotry, and they say it's no one's business what language any other American speaks. They also reminded the US VP that America was built by immigrants, founded by immigrants, and in fact, people who speak other languages were the backbone of building the US, including the family of and families like his wife, ushavance. In fact, the reaction online was so strong and the traction was so strong, it led him, Jean-Emile, led the US Vice President to respond to this recirculated clip, but we will get to that a little bit later.
Well, what did Vance actually say then in that interview?
Well, I think it's best to answer that question if we watch the viral clip directly. I just want to say that this interview was done by the New York Post podcast. It was published on the 29th of October, and JD Vance was discussing soaring costs of rent in relation to immigration. So let's take a listen.
And then what happens is 20 people move into a 3-bedroom house. 20 people from a totally different culture, totally different ways of interacting. Again, we can respect their dignity while also being angry at the Biden administration for letting that situation happen and recognizing that their next door neighbors are going to say, well, wait a second, what is going on here? I don't know these people. They don't speak the same language that I do. And because there are 20 in the house next door, it's a little bit rowdier than it was when there was just a family of 4, a family of 5. It is totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens to look at their next door neighbors and say, I want to live next to people who I have something in common with. I don't want to live next to 4 families of strangers.
So that is what he said. Let's take a little bit of a closer look so we can see it on the paper or on the screen. Now, he started by saying, I don't know these people, they don't speak the same language that I do. And then he followed that by saying in that clip, as we heard there, it's totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens to look at their next door neighbors and say, I want to live next to people who I have something in common with. I don't want to live next to 4 families of strangers. Now, if we compare that to our viral post that we're seeing here, it is true that the phrasing is not quite the same. The phrasing is different, but I do think his remarks do echo the same sentiment, the same essence, if you will. He does speak about how it's reasonable to live next to people who speak the same language as you. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Vance did take the opportunity just earlier this week, just yesterday, to respond to all of this online frenzy. And he said, firstly, it's just a made-up quote and completely dishonest. But he did double down on this. And he said it is reasonable, in his opinion, to want to share a language with your neighbor, because in his opinion, how do you borrow a cup of sugar, resolve disagreements, or have a nice conversation? You need a common language. And in America, that is English. Now, that is an interesting comment because whilst English has long been a de facto administrative language of the United States, it was not considered the official language until just a few months ago in March of 2025, when Donald Trump ordered it so in an executive order. But yes, overall, while Vance might not have said that exact quote that we saw pushing around on social media, he did reiterate that he thinks it's reasonable to want to live next to families with things in common, particularly those who speak the same language.
Well, let's speak of family, because as is the nature of the world right now, when a clip like this does go viral, it triggers further speculation about the personal life of the said person. What kind of speculation has there been about Vance's marriage?
Well, we saw earlier, as on the screen, we talked about social media users reminding JD Vance that he's married into a family of immigrants. His wife, ushavance, is the daughter of immigrants. And I saw a lot of social commentary with this post going viral again, wondering how his in-laws and his family by marriage would react to comments like this and what they would say, particularly pertaining to language. And this has triggered a lot of it's added to the rumour mill, if you will, because particularly as Ushavance has recently been pictured at several public engagements not wearing her wedding ring. And in fact, it led to a spokesperson for Ushavance to speak to People magazine to clear that up, saying that she's a mother of 3 young children who does a lot of dishes, gives a lot of baths, and forgets her ring sometimes. And JD Vance has also waded into this as well. Earlier this week, he spoke to NBC News, where he clarified that he believes his marriage with Usha is as strong as it's ever been, and that they find all of these rumours and the speculation around their marriage very funny. But what his family might think about it, we of course don't know. This is what we do know as of now.
Vedika Bahal, thank you so much. Absolutely fascinating take on our Truth or Fake segment.